In a year where I played more video games than ever before, there have been few titles that I played in 2020 that hit me as hard as Final Fantasy VII Remake. And not just because it was the most cyberpunk AAA game released that year. Yeah, I said it! While you will find no shortage of hot takes about this game and its original, I do want to share some of my perspective about some specific elements to this game. Because here's the thing with Final Fantasy VII. As someone who was 2 years old when the original game came out and had only experienced it through the warped osmosis of the internet, this is a story that makes it extremely easy to dismiss it. So much of my time on the internet has been in the aftershocks of this game, where it has been parodied, mocked, and dissected to Round Island and back. And because of this, most of the surprises to this game have been already revealed to me in some of the most irreverent ways possible. Twists like Zack, the fall of the Sector 7 plate, how crazy Sephiroth is, and how Cloud is the coolest video game dude that ever was, were all things that I had never experienced firsthand. And I think the thing that encapsulates this strange position I am in was how I found out about the death of Aerith, an event that many consider amongst the most important story moments to ever occur in games as an art form. I found out because some YouTuber used its cutscene as a bumper to some top 10 video. You would think that if there was ever a game that could be so thoroughly ruined by the internet, this would have to be it, right? So often, people talk about how overzealous fandoms end up ruining stories for those discovering it for the first time. And yet, amongst the games that I played in 2020, there have been few that have permeated my memory as this game has, which I think is a testament to these characters and the nuances to them that are revealed to those who don't look at them through the 50 layers of irony that the internet has come to view them with. While I could talk about the depth that was found in characters like Jessie, Cloud, Tifa, and Barrett, this profundity was most defined by Aerith herself. Before I played the game, Aerith always struck me as this sort of depthless martyr, taking a position not too dissimilar from characters like the original Gwen Stacy or Penny from Dr. Horrible's Sing-Along, with Aerith appearing to be some source of ambiguous good, whose death serves as empty motivation for Cloud so he can become even more angsty and serious, while he does serious manly things as revenge against this other manly shirtless dude with a katana. This was a dismissive impression on my part. Though, in my defense, Square Enix's follow-ups to the story certainly didn't help. While this speaks to the level of nuance that women characters are sometimes ascribed to by certain fans, this feels quite in line with the themes of this game. At its core, Final Fantasy VII is all about the cycle of life and death. And a funny thing about death is the ways that it can smooth away the complicated elements to a person's life. We want to focus on the positive elements of their life, and it can sometimes run counter to view that person with complexity to the point where people can deify certain people at times. And don't get me wrong, simple displays of people being good for the sake of being good are gratifying to see, but we mustn't treat any needless loss of life as some noble pursuit, no matter how much of a martyr they are. And this leaves me in a strange place with Aerith. If Square Enix is anything to go by, they seem to hope to make larger changes to the core story of Final Fantasy VII with its continuity shift. At this point, it's quite unpredictable whether or not Aerith is going to die as the story progresses, which leaves me to wonder how I would feel if they decide to go back on this decision. On one hand, much of the shock factor behind Aerith's death has been kind of lost at this point, and it begs the question, would a death that is designed to convey the feeling of loss be successful in communicating it if it was expected? Though, as a counterpoint, could we trust Square Enix to treat such a change as anything other than revisionism for the sake of fan service? The fact that this amount of uncertainty and speculation can occur towards one of the most dissected stories in all of video games does make me at least excited to see what they have in store. But until then, I guess we'll have to look forward to this follow-up once the game finally drops in 2037.